Last call fantasy football. Back at it. Thursday, September 19th. We are 55 minutes away from the well anticipated New England Patriots versus Jets game.
Football.
Well, we did have good audio till you just ruined it.
I broke my microphone.
No. Put that thing close to your mouth and we're going to get this thing going. Pause. Oh, damn it. All right. Great start to the show. Welcome, one and all. We have back on track and what we did call our downhill from here players today. We changed the name, workshopping the name. Now we're calling it It's a Trap. Everyone knows
It's a trap.
Admiral Akbar, Star Wars.
It's a trap. That was his name, but
Well, I'm the Star Wars guy in this situation.
that's
So.
a Star Wars thing. I thought it was a Star Trek thing.
No, it's a Star Wars.
He looks like a Star Trek guy.
He's just a fugly alien. Looks like a fish, but it's
That's fine.
iconic. So
Was that for the Death Star blow up or what?
yeah, it was when they thought they were going to Endor to blow up the Death Star, the second one,
It's a trap.
and then
All right.
what? I
cares?
can't finish my Star Wars comment. Whatever, bro.
Unnecessary.
All right. Anyways, we're gonna get this thing rolling. We got to run through this game because we got to get into watch as well. So, like I said, back on track players that kind of dudded out last week, but you can start with full confidence and should be back on track for this weekend. It's a trap players that quite the opposite. They bought out, but it ain't gonna repeat. It ain't gonna go far. So
Yeah.
we looked at some players in depth, and we're going to put our reputation next to them. So
Yeah. Let me tell you who's not back on track this week. Joe Mixon, Kenneth Walker, Debo Samuel, Jaden Reed, Justin Jefferson, and many more. Possibly AJ Brown.
on the injury
Those are all
report,
people who are injured, and those are all high class or first class, fantasy options. So,
Not
don't be
to
discouraged.
mention-
If you have one of those guys out, the person you're playing probably also does as well. So,
not to mention Christian McCaffrey, Isaiah Pacheco, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, all the week one
a lot.
travesties that happened. So
Jordan Love.
hang in there. We're gonna get through it. Everyone's in the same boat. This is honestly a terrible start to the year. Hopefully you didn't have a multitude of
week
those
one.
guys. If you have just one, possibly even two of those guys, I think you're doing fine. Like
I've got two.
I've got two. I got Mixon and Cup. So we're
Kenneth Walker and Reed,
chugging
so.
along.
And Mostert.
So let's get back on track. I'm gonna kick it off. Who's back
it.
on track? What?
I said, do it.
Oh, I thought you said we. No. My guy Tank Dell versus Minnesota this week.
Whack.
He has not had a great start to the year. He has been extremely close to great games where we wouldn't even be having these conversations because he was overthrown by an inch, dropped a couple passes. But, I mean, we've seen Tank Dell not have these issues before, and the method is there. And what's his name? Nico Collins was banged up. He didn't practice today. They could just be taking it light. I think it's a hand injury. I'm not worried about Nico, but what I'm saying
I
is,
think it'll be fine.
is Tank Dell is in store to have one of his games. It's been, look, they had Stephon Diggs with the 2 tutties week 1, Nico Collins with all the yards and the touchdown week 2, and this is how the year we said it's going to go. It's going to go week by week by week. Someone's going to have that game. Yeah. I'm calling my shot. Tank Dell's back on track against Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think he's probably going to be the most volatile out of the three, but he's going to hit one of these weeks, so good week for it. My back on track player is Garrett Wilson. I think I'm just going to ride or die with him until he does it. He's versing Miami this week, so it's a good matchup. We've already talked plenty about how we think Aaron Rodgers is.
They're playing the Patriots tonight.
What?
Wrong notes. Yeah, Patriots Jets. We just talked about it.
Okay, my bad. He's playing the Patriots this week, tonight, and we've already talked about it. It should be a good matchup. Aaron Rodgers should get back on track himself, and that leads to Garrett Wilson being more productive in the passing game. Hopefully he gets a touchdown, but I wouldn't bet on it ever again.
Yeah. um, we talked about it before. The Jets looked better than week one. They look shaky. They look better. I think that trend is going to continue to grow.
Yeah.
So,
So far it has.
right. And the Patriots are a decent defense, but I think that Garrett
Yeah.
Wilson, if
They're just
it
middle of the pack.
does, when and if it does click between the two of them, he's going to be a league winner at the end of the year if they can figure it out throughout the year. If not, it's no big deal. It's on Justin's team, so
Yeah.
I'll allow it. But yeah, my second back on track. My boy DeAndre Swift. He's had a rough go, man. DeAndre Swift versus the
Oof,
Colts.
that's tough.
He's had a
You're
rough
getting
go.
you're getting nasty with these back on track picks right now.
Hey, you gotta. I'm telling you, I'm planting my name, my reputation on these players this week. This is one that I'm probably not going to be agreed upon or agreed with people after this, and we'll see on Monday when we do recap this if I'm right or wrong. I'm going to hold that one. So
Yeah, if you're trying to improve your percentage this week,
yeah, it's happening.
you didn't take
I'm
very
telling you.
safe bets.
The Colts gashed on the run game. He's going to have a decent game. I'm not saying that he's going to be a top 5 running back this week.
Yeah, you're
the
just
other
saying
two.
80 and a touchdown for sure.
Yeah, it's 65.
That'd be great.
65 and maybe a score. I think he gets.
How are you going to make him your back on track player of the week? And you saying
Because
he was 65 rushing yards?
Because he was 14 for 18 last week. Like, I'm getting this back on track.
Oh my gosh!
I say 65 on the ground, 25 through the air, maybe a score. That's all I'm saying. And that is
okay. So I was wrong. Actually, you're cheating the system based off of your rules.
What do you mean?
You're saying that you're saying you get a win if he just does better than he did last week.
Significantly better.
They have to have good performances, right?
Yeah, this is someone that you will have been happy to start. Like you're glad I'm not going to come out and put a line on this, and if he's 1 yard short, 1 yard over, it's a boom or bust. No, he's going to be someone that you're happy.
You don't want to make an over under bet of 65 yards.
I made a really good line, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah, screw it. I'll do it. Let's do it. I'm going to keep this on here. You want to do that?
That's it.
All right. I'm writing it down. Over 65 yards on the ground. On the ground. Not total. On the ground. Because the Colts got gashed by 2 solid running backs. Granted, better teams, better backs. But they also went for 135 plus. Not 65. So I think, I'm going to hedge my bet here. But yeah, back on track. Mr. Swift.
All right. My second is Travis Etienne versus Buffalo this week. Buffalo's defense, we talked about it in the offseason. They were obliterated. Their defense is gone. They have some younger players on the defensive line that are okay, but there's nobody. Once they get past that first line of defense, they're gone. And he's had a pretty rough start to the season. He's been okay. He's gotten into the end zone. But I think this is the week where he gets
0.8 points, 52 and a touchdown.
Yes, he hasn't hurt you, but he hasn't won you a week. He's just kept you afloat. I think this is the week where he might win you a week.
Okay, so that's the barometer for you're back on track now. Since he was 52 for 1.
Yeah, I think he needs to have 14 or more points this week.
That's a 3-point upgrade from what he got last week.
Fine, 15 points.
No, okay, fine. You're calling me for cheating the system. You're going a difference of 4 fantasy points.
I'm just saying he's going to get back on track as far as being a good player, and he's going to have a Travis Etienne game from last year this game.
All right. We will decipher that after the week is over and see what our consensus is. All right, my final back on track. We touched on this in yesterday's episode. Brandon Ayuk versus the Rams. No Debo, no McCaffrey. You got Juwan Jennings and George Kittle. He hasn't had a good game yet. He's been under 60 yards receiving as this new highly paid number 1 receiver for the team, and he's disappointed. He's rusty from no practice, no training camp, nothing. And with a banged-up Rams team and no Debo, no McCaffrey, lock it in back on track for Brandon Ayuk, and you're finally going to be glad that you drafted him this week. So,
Yeah, I really like that one. I probably would have picked him if you hadn't. My last back on track player of the week is Dalton Kincaid versus Jacksonville. As you can see, I kind of like this matchup a little bit. Um, it, for one, I think it's going to be in. I'm blanking so hard right now. Sorry, it's been a long day.
what?
I think it's going to be a high scoring game. Both defenses kind of suck. So I think both offenses are going to kind of have their way. Jacksonville more so on the run side. But I think this is the game where Buffalo finally airs it out. Like I said, Josh Allen was my, star of the week at the quarterback position. I think he's going to finish number one. So in order for him to do that, he's going to need to lean on Kincaid, Keon Coleman, and some of the other pass catchers, James Cook out of the backfield. So lock it in. I think Kincaid's going to have a bounce back game.
Hell yeah. I'm
Maybe
for it.
80-1. Yeah.
I don't like it because I'm going against Josh Allen and Kincaid this week, so that's my nightmare situation. Is Kincaid causes Josh Allen's number one QB on the week? But if that is going to happen, like you have prophesized, that most likely will be a direct result of that as well.
For sure.
All right, so keep them locked in. They're back on track. Don't be scared. Plug them in. Enjoy it. And if it blows up in our face, we will accept accountability on Monday. I don't want to see that.
After, don't ruin my Sunday.
Right.
We'll take accountability on my Monday is already ruined because it's Monday.
So. Actually, well, depending on when we record, before or after, that is the Monday night game. Monday at 7:30 is Buffalo and Jags. So.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Also, pro tip, and I guess not pro tip, but newsflash: there's 2 Monday night games tonight. We got a doubleheader.
Tonight?
No, 2 Monday night games.
Or Monday. Monday. You said no, but you said tonight. You said tonight.
I said Monday night.
Okay, maybe you just said it real quick.
I said fast. Okay. Yeah, 2 Monday night games. And for the life of me, I can't. Oh, it's Washington
cool.
and
actually I hate that.
Cincinnati.
Is it at the same time again?
They're like 30 minutes apart.
Dude, that's so dumb.
I know.
I like when they do it. Like if you start a game at like 5, and then maybe it runs into the next game a little bit. They used to have the game
start like it would be on the West Coast, and they'd start at like 9 o'clock, 9:30. So it would be like 7:30, 9:30. So they'd at least give you 2 hours in between. So if one was a stinker, you could switch it over and catch the beginning of the next game. But anyways, I digress.
Yeah. All right, who's your back or who's your?
It's a trap. It's a trap. It's James Conner versus the Detroit Lions.
Whack.
Mr. Fantastic.
I don't like it.
I know you don't like it. I'm telling you, I'm pissing people off.
Why would you do this?
Because
we like him.
Detroit is number 1 against running backs in the league, and
not this week.
Well, I'm just saying. And James Conner, he's been on fire. He's been the dude, and I like me some James Conner. Trust me, I like me some James Conner. Detroit is getting blown up by passing options and stuffing the run. They become a run funnel or a pass funnel team. They just take the run away and cause you to beat them in the air. And with James Conner being the only dude, I think that they realize that what they have on defense is built to stop the run. They're going to take James Conner out the game, and the passing weapons are going to flourish. So I think McBride has a good game. I think Marvin Harrison has a good game. Hell, I think even Craig Dortch is a sneaky. If you're in a deep league, I'm telling you, the slot receivers are feasting against Detroit. I mean, hell, Chris Godwin just blew them the hell out of the water. So,
yeah, I don't hate the take, but I do think that the number 1 rush defense is definitely skewed.
When they were
2 running backs
against run last year as well.
But the 2 running backs they've versed so far are Kyron and Rashad White. So it's not really. It's not like they've versed any top backs.
That's a first-round fantasy pick and a second-round fantasy pick at running back.
But they don't calculate the strength of the defense by the fantasy points that person gets. They do it by the rush yards that fantasy running back gets.
Regardless, that's the bread and butter of what it is. Rashad White got absolutely shut down. Bucky Irving shut down. Kyron did not have a good game. And I'm just saying it was what happened last year, and I think it's going to continue to happen. So don't be shocked if – I'm not saying drop James Conner. And if you need, most
No,
likely you're
but
going
he's
to
one of
have to
those.
start him.
He is a matchup-proof running back typically.
Uh,
But
well, we'll see.
so
I'm
I'm
saying it's
bet
a
against
trap.
you on that one,
It's a
but
trap. It's a
I
trap.
don't hate it.
All right.
All right, my it's a trap player of the week is Kyron. Kyron Williams went. What did I just say?
Kyron Williams, Wentz.
Kyron Williams. I don't know. Yeah. Kyron Williams versus San Francisco 49ers this week. I think the matchup kind of speaks for itself. He's versus the 49ers. He hasn't been super efficient this year, anyways, which is sad to see. It seems like he is the James Robinson of this year.
I wouldn't go that far. He
I would.
just, the O line was decrepit last week. And the first week they played the Lions, who are great against the running backs. So
Well,
I think he's going to have a
and then-
bad game for a different reason.
And then they played the Cardinals, so I don't.
I think he's going to have a bad game for a different reason. I agree with you. I just think that they're
no.
going to sell out against the run because there's
Well, yes.
no Cup, there's no Puka Nakua, and their
I was going to
O-line.
get there, man.
Oh, all right.
That was also a point of mine as well. Is that Cooper Kupp is gone? They have no receivers. Demarcus Robinson and
Tutu Atwell and Jordan Whittington.
Tutu Atwell. Yeah, those are the receivers. That's trash. So they're going to lean on Kyron, and the defense is going to know that. So hopefully they're better than the Colts when it comes to that.
No, they will be for sure. So I like it. But it just sucks because like a lot of these guys you're starting them, especially with all these injuries. You got a starting running back.
You
that's
might
like,
not have to start Kyron just because he dropped so much in the draft, but
he didn't drop so much. He was still a second round pick guaranteed. He was borderline first.
Yeah,
to start the
maybe
to start the
in our league he might have gone like third or fourth, but
he was a second round pick because I was going to take him but I had to take Derrick Henry in the second round because he was taking one pick before me in the second round. But anyways,
okay.
Moving on. That's our trap for Calvin Ridley against the Green Bay Packers.
I like this one. I think that he got a touchdown last week, right?
He ran for a touchdown and caught a bomb touchdown last week. He had 22 fantasy points in our scoring format, and he is everything in the passing game so far. I saw a stat today that said he has 75% of the team's receiving yards.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. Small sample size, like 2 games, and
DeAndre Hopkins has just been hurt the whole time, right?
No, he's played. He's been playing the whole time.
I know, it's rhetorical.
Oh, yes.
He's washed.
Done. Blech. Dunzo.
Moment of silence.
Hey, he's won me a championship in the past. I do my respect. But yeah, Calvin Ridley. Packers got a good defense. They don't have the best stats backing their pass defense so far. I think the 70-yard touchdown by A.J. Brown in week 1 has skewed that. So on paper, it looks like a decent matchup, but I think that the Packers are a legit team. They're going to find a way to take out Calvin Ridley. They're going to find a way to take advantage of the Will Levis experience. So I think Calvin Ridley is in for a steep decline from his 22-point outing.
I like it. Look, the Packers might have the best defense in the league after what they did to the Colts. So
I think that's more of an
that's
indictment on the Colts offense, but that's just me.
Anyways, Ramondre versus the Jets is it's a trap. Second player of the week. Kyle's obviously on the opposite side of this from his.
For my what?
What segment was it where you picked him?
Well,
guarantee. He might have been Kyle's guarantee.
No,
anyways,
he wasn't. It was just when we were talking about the matchup tonight and with our parlay. With our parlay, I thought
yes, the parlay. I think the Jets defense is better than they have put on film. I think that they're going to get it going this week. I've already said that I think it's going to be somewhat of a blowout tonight with the Jets versus the Patriots. And I think the Patriots are going to be put in a position where they have to throw the ball instead of run it. So I think he's going to be taken out of the game in the second half.
Yeah, I don't think so. Just because I think the Jets' run defense is not good. They lost Jermaine Johnson to the year on an ACL. They're a little banged up on the D line.
They were good before him though.
But no, I know. I'm just saying they're not going to get beat on through the air. They're going to get beat on the ground. But
I
if
think
it
it'll
is a
be with
blowout,
Antonio Gibson. That's my opinion. I think that it's going to be from drop-offs with Antonio Gibson. That's how they're going to move the ball this week.
fair, I can see it. But yeah, I don't have any Ramondre because I personally despise having any player on the New England Patriots. So
Yeah, typically hasn't worked out.
it could be a trap. Could be a trap. Speaking of traps, I'm going to say it again. And it's not going to be a shocker if you watched last week's or yesterday's episode. J.K. Dobbins versus Pittsburgh. I said he was my bet the house, my number one bet the house. J.K. Dobbins was going to the hype train was going to end this week against the Steelers. You're probably starting him because he is leading the NFL in rushing. If you haven't paid much attention, the Steelers have been shutting running backs down, and J.K. Dobbins has been overtly efficient at 9.9 a clip. It's going to come to an end this week. So if you traded him, Gio, good job. Timmy, dumbass. Starting him this week. Enjoy your 4 points.
We know you're watching, Timmy.
We know you're watching. So.
And if you're not, we will also know.
Yes.
Timmy.
All right. Who's your final trap player today?
Oh, man, Kyle, you're not going to like this one. It's Derrick Henry. I looked at his stats. Derrick Henry's not been super efficient with the carries he's had.
No,
I mean, that hasn't been him the last couple of years, but he's had the, 25 carries a game to kind of get him to the yardage that you would like to see. This year, they want him for the playoffs. They're not going to give him 25, 30 carries a game. They're going to give him 15 to 20, and it is what it is. Justice Hill is good enough to where he can come in and spell Derrick Henry. So not only do I think he's going to be inefficient, but I also think that the Cowboys are going to have a bounce back game as far as their defense. Yeah. They still have Michael Parsons on that defense, and I think they're going to be upset from what happened last week, and they're going to shut him down.
Yeah, it's not been the most efficient season so far for Derrick Henry. He's going to be this is Derrick Henry, and this is what he's always been, but I think it'll just be a little teeny tiny bit less efficient going forward. He's been, and there goes Justin again. Derrick Henry has been the 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, 25 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, 3 yards, 22 yards. So he just needs that opportunity to hit the hole. We got Justin back. All right, back. I was saying that Derrick Henry has been the guy that gets 3 yards, 3 yards, 5 yards, 22 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, 18 yards. Like, that's been his whole career as well. So it's just, you're just going to have Derrick Henry get those chunk plays and where he can hit that hole and take it off, and that's when he's going to need for a good game. There are going to be games where those holes don't open up, and they're just going to completely decimate the below average Ravens O-line so far this year.
Yeah.
So,
and if he doesn't get a touchdown that game, you're screwed. So
yeah. It's been the story of it. So, unfortunately, it's a possibility. But that's it.
Well,
we're are back on tracks, and it's a trap. We're wrapping it up, but we did
DFS.
Yeah, DFS. I really like this, and I'm gonna.
I love it.
This
has been so far my favorite segment. I think that we do just because it's so interactive.
Right, and you quite literally put values on players, and you have to deal with what you play the hands you're dealt, essentially. Yeah. So this
week it was fixed. The prices were better on the players this week than they were last week. Last week we made a bunch of super teams. I mean, you still can get some really good players, but I know I made my team and had to go back and downgrade a bunch of my players because.
Oh, see, I didn't. I was able to
Jordan
get a super
Mason, Bijan.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
Further, but.
All right. So again, 60,000 budget. I'm gonna kick it off. I bet we have the same quarterback.
I think so.
Let's say it at the same time.
How many players? How many players do you think we have?
Oh, one.
Week. I think we have more this
week. Two. I think we have two. So, because I think you're gonna hate my team, but I think I'm gonna win anyways because it's a super team.
Ugh. All right. Well,
Mm-hmm.
all right. Three,
Ready? Two,
2,
one.
1. Kyler
Joe
Murray.
Burrow. Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Now it's
Yeah,
Kyler Murray.
I went. I
I mean,
went.
we both been on the same page with they're gonna air it out this week, Marvin
Mm-hmm.
Harrison.
I was
So
I was gonna do Kyler Murray again, but I did him last week, and it was a great call. Kudos to me. But Washington's pass defense is god awful, and
yeah,
Joe Burrow he already had over 250 and 2 against Kansas City last week, and I think they take that next step forward. Maybe they get T Higgins back, maybe they don't. Don't
I like
care.
your pick too.
And 7,400. How much you pay for Kyler?
8,300.
See,
So yeah, that was a lot of my money right there.
yeah, see, I'm there, and it's going to work out this week. So, all right. You already mentioned him. My number one running back is Jordan Mason against the Rams. I think the Niners dominate this game, and I think they're going to pound the rock with our boy Jordan Mason. He was 8,300, so he was an expensive piece of the puzzle, but he's my RB1.
Yeah. My RB1 is Travis Etienne Jr. Versus Buffalo.
Okay.
He's my get back on track player of the week, and I
How
think
much
he's
he
gonna do
cost?
well. He was 7,300.
All right, so you saved $1,000 on me on my RB1, and this is where you're not gonna like it, but it's gonna pay off for me big time. RB2, Brian Robinson Jr., Cincinnati, 6,200.
I almost put him in my flex, but
6,200 for Brian Robinson
yeah,
Jr.
he was pretty cheap. But I have already said in a segment this week that I thought he was going to not be able to continue what he's been doing. So
I mean, he's the RB11 in our league so far
I
through
know
2 weeks.
he's been good so
Ahead
far.
of the
But I don't
likes
think he'll
of
continue to do what he's doing.
David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, Charbonnet,
Yeah,
Jahmyr Gibbs,
I know.
Bijan. He's ahead of them all. So,
Okay. Well,
all right, who's your RB2?
my RB2 is Zach Charbonnet. I don't think Kenneth Walker is going to suit up this week. He
He
was
will
super
not. There's
cheap
no
at
way.
6,700. And he was not, he was actually better than he looked in the game for fantasy. He actually ended with about 65 yards and I think like 37 yards in the pass or receiving game. So that's actually not too bad. That's pretty similar to what Kenneth Walker does. He's usually an 80-yard and 30 to 40 in the receiving game. So I think he gets in the end zone. I think he has a pretty good game, better matchup. It'll be good.
Yeah, I'll be starting him in our Dynasty League for the second straight week. So, fun to me.
Our main league.
All right. Now we're getting into this is where I take you down. Wide receiver 1, Chris Olave against Philly. I told you.
Me too.
Ah, damn it. See,
Gotcha, bitch.
we talked about it last week. All right, okay. Well, I said we were gonna have 2 the same. So that's number 1. But yeah, Chris Olave versus Philly.
That's a wash.
I said this was gonna be his get back game, and he's going to get back against the second worst passing or receiving second worst defense against wide receivers for fantasy.
Yeah.
And
he's been fine. He just hasn't gotten in the end zone.
right. This is the week I'm putting my money where my mouth is with Chris Olave at RB1 or wide receiver 1. You said the same. So we'll move to wide receiver 2. Damn, this one might be one. Brandon Ayuk.
No. He
No?
was close.
Brandon Ayuk, Rams, 6,500.
But I actually spent up on my third receiver. It's just not in order.
Okay,
So
that's fine. Maybe we did the same. I don't know. But yeah, who's your number 2? Because I got Ayuk for only 6,500, which I thought was a steal.
mine is Nico Collins at 7,600.
Okay, so
I spent up here on my wide receivers. So Nico Collins, obviously, he's just a stud. And there's not much more to say about that. I think he was honestly priced pretty well.
that's expensive. What'd you say, 7,600?
For the wide receivers, he was pretty far down there. He was probably the 10th wide receiver down. So, but
A lot of the good
your-
fantasy options this week have really bad matchups, I've noticed. Like the top tier
Yeah.
fantasy options, they don't have the best matchups. So I think we've decided to get some value and get the mid to upper tier, like mid upper tier of players with way better matchups versus spending up on those guys. So Um, all right, our third wide receiver, because we're doing 3 wide in this DFS lineup. Devontae Adams versus Carolina.
That's actually a good one.
7,800. He's more expensive than
Yeah,
Chris Olave
I did
and
not have
Ayuk.
room for him.
Yeah, you didn't. I did because I am GM king, and I got Devontae Adams as my third wide receiver, 7,800.
Yeah, that's cute. I've got Marvin Harrison to stack with Kyler Murray. So if Kyler has a good game, Marv probably will too, and that'll boost my points. Obviously, Marvin, had his coming out party last week, and he's looking to improve on what he did last week, and that was already good enough. So
Personally, I hope that's fantastic because I got to start Marv this week in our league. But um, I just think Devontae Adams is going to feast,
yeah.
which
obviously Marvin should have, been my wide receiver one in this anyways,
right,
but
for sure,
or Nico Collins, but yeah.
Well, so I'm saying Devontae Adams is going to feast against Carolina, and this is 100% the same tight end we had from last week. We both picked Brock Bowers, did we not?
There he did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think he got to the best matchup in the league,
and he was still like the sixth cheapest tight end option.
Yeah, you're still down there, and he had 98 yards last week, and that touchdown is coming. So
I'm gonna rock out with my Brock out.
Me too. I'm Brock hard right now.
Yeah, you are. All right, I'm curious to see where you went with this because I don't think we have the same one here. Flex, Chris Godwin versus Denver, 6,600.
I'm an idiot, dude.
What?
I have Brandon Ayuk as well. He's in my flex.
Oh, okay.
I did have Brandon Ayuk in my flex.
All right. Okay, so we had Brandon Ayuk and Chris Olave. Oh, and Brock Bowers. Okay, yeah, I didn't think you would have Chris Olave. That was the one. Yeah. I thought we would have. I thought we were gonna have Joe Burrow and Brock Bowers. So, all right. And then defense. Last week I was able to pick the best, like the $5,000, the top most expensive option.
Yeah. I feel like we might have the same on this.
I had to go Colts versus Bears at 3,800.
Wow. I think. Oh no, actually, I didn't have enough money for that. Mine was the Bengals at 3,100 versus Washington.
Yeah, that was gonna be.
I like it.
I really wanted to try and get a good defense because I noticed like they actually did really well for me last week, and it put me over. I mean, I beat you by damn near 50 points, so it wasn't close, but they did great for me last week, and I don't like to neglect the defense because I think the defense can make or break your week. So
yeah, I just had to spend up on some players, but I think it'll be fine just because I don't think Washington's going to score a ton of points either way. They might not have the takeaways against them, but either way, they're not going to take a bunch of points away from me.
For sure. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm excited for the game. I'm going to watch it at Salty Dog. Wait. So.
Except wait. I got a surprise.
Oh no. Oh no.
Surprise, Justin. Week 2 checkpoint. Put on your thinking cap because I'm going to test your knowledge, my boy.
Oh God. Okay.
Welcome to The Price is Right. My contestant here, Justin Allen Curley. Justin Allen Curley.
Really? Damn.
Justin Allen Curry. We're going to check your week 2 knowledge of fantasy points combined for players. And I'm going to ask you a this or that. So tell me, through week 2 in the NFL season this year, who has more combined fantasy points this year so far?
Okay.
Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor, or Saquon Barkley and Tajay Spears?
Saquon Barkley and Tajay Spears.
You are correct. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, Saquon has...
I'll give you a bonus point. Guess by how much?
Considering Saquon probably himself covered week 1, 10.
0.38
Oh wow.
difference between
Okay.
those two players or those four players. Saquon Barkley and
Yeah, I
Tajay
guess
Spears.
Saquon didn't do great week 2, so
He just didn't get in the end zone. And Tajay
yeah,
Spears hasn't been nothing. He just hasn't
yeah.
had those
He's
prolific
just getting the
games.
receiving work for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, I just thought maybe the name value of Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor. Maybe if you hadn't done the deep dive on the Derrick Henry, you might have thought otherwise. But you saw exactly what he
Well, I
got.
just knew that they've both been okay,
Yeah.
but they haven't been great.
All
And
right.
Saquon had a 30-point game, so
All right. Well, this one's tougher. Ready?
yep.
Who has more combined fantasy points so far this season through week 2? Is it DK Metcalf and Jamar Chase? Or is it Zay Flowers and Amon-Ra St. Brown?
That is actually a lot tougher. Um, DK had a really good game. Wait, it was DK and Jamar Chase, right?
Yep, DK and Jamar Chase, or Zay Flowers and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra had a poopy week 1. Zay Flowers actually had 2 pretty solid weeks. And Amon-Ra had about a 20-point game last week. But DK had a 20-point game this past week, but he had a poopy first game. And Jamar Chase has had poopy both games. So I'm going to go with Amon-Ra and the other guy, Jay Flowers. Oh, wow.
Wrong. It's DK Metcalf and Jamar Chase. I'm cutting a fine line here. I set you up to fail.
Yeah.
37.5 points versus 37.4 points. They are
Okay.
right there. So
I figured they were really close. So
it's just about as close as you can get. DK Metcalf and Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase hasn't had a breakout game, but he hasn't been uninvolved.
yeah,
DK,
I think he's had like 6 points a game.
right, and DK did have a 23-point game in our scoring last week, but Amon-Ra I think had a crazy number of. I think Amon-Ra had like 17 targets last week, and he ended up with a decent game.
19,
so,
I think.
but yeah, so all right, this one is quarterbacks. Are you ready? You're 1 for 1 right now. And I was mean with this. It was very close. So it's kind of tough to pick these, to be honest, because
I'll be happy to get 2 out of 3.
A lot of them were, if I would have went that way, they would have been glaringly obvious. Because as much as we pay
didn't watch
attention
our
to
Hot
this,
Ones episode, just know I'm already doing way better than I did in that one, and I'm not eating hot wings this time, so my mouth feels better too.
all right. Maybe I should just like have you have some hot sauce on deck, because you never know when I'm going to pull out some
DoorDash some hot
surprise.
wings to me.
All right, quarterbacks. Who has more combined fantasy points this year so far? Is it Daniel Jones and Matthew Stafford, or Patrick Mahomes and Caleb Williams? You have Daniel
Jones and Matthew Stafford.
Oh, I was setting it up, man. You cut off my setup while you thought. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I figured.
Guess
Caleb
by
Williams
how
been
much?
Precious. I'm assuming it's not a lot because you are a dick. 1.3.
No, it's more than that. It's what is it? It's like 2.8 points.
Okay.
But yeah, and most of that. So, of the 4, rank them in total fantasy points scored. It was Patrick Mahomes, Caleb Williams, Daniel Jones, Matthew Stafford.
I think Matthew Stafford is 1. Daniel Jones 2. No, Patrick Mahomes 2. Daniel Jones 3. And Caleb Williams 4.
So close. No. Mahomes is still at the top of the pecking order.
Okay.
Actually, no, you weren't close at all. Because it's Patrick Mahomes, Daniel Jones, Matthew Stafford, Caleb Williams.
Oh, okay.
Daniel Jones has outscored Matthew Stafford so far in fantasy points, which
It's not super surprising. He has the legs.
I mean, but even then, how much? Let's do a deep dive right quick before we bounce out of here on what has comprised of Daniel Jones' fantasy points. He has 364 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and only 47 yards on the ground. Matthew Stafford has 533 passing yards, but he has another touchdown and one less pick, or one more touchdown and one more pick than Matthew Stafford, Daniel Jones has. So and plus the 47 yards on the ground, that makes up for the 2 picks. If you count, you can counteract that, the 2 points for that. So yeah. So it was my little surprise. I had some extra time to finagle some things, but you did good. And
yeah, I'm pretty proud.
I think, the only one that you, I guess, technically got wrong was DK Metcalf, Jamar Chase, Zay Flowers, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was splitting hairs on the difference, but trying to combine
I was
name
really
value,
close to going the other way too. So
name value versus production. I'm gonna, I might have some tricks up my sleeve for you throughout this year. So keep yourself on your toes. Watch the game.
I'm always on my toes.
If anyone's always on their toes, it's me.
I was gonna say, as soon as I said that, I was like, wait, no, he's always on his toes.
If anyone's seen me walk, yes, I'm one of those kids that bounce on their toes. I'm getting better at it though. I think I'm just getting lazy. And my body's just like sinking closer to the ground, exerting less energy as I get older. Yeah. But that's it from us. Watch the game, enjoy the game. Actually, if you're watching this, you already watched and hopefully enjoyed the game. We will see if our parlays hit, see if we can enjoy our little $5 bet to have a little bit of fun on Thursday night. And as always, check us out. You're here on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get 3 videos out a week. We're doing good so far, and appreciate all the support that we get. To all the Boot Squad guys that are watching the show, appreciate you guys, and follow us on.
You guys need to subscribe and like.
Yeah, come on, man. You help your bros out.
Come on.
We're growing this thing, but we're getting out of here, and you'll hear from us after week 3 of the NFL. So enjoy it. We'll only get 18 weeks total plus the playoffs. So
have a good weekend.
We're rocking and rolling. Deuces. We'll catch you on Monday. Bye.
See ya.